Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Everything I Know podcast.
Damn it, you left out that.
I said it super fast.
No, you did not. Everything I Know podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Everything That I Know podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Whitley, here with Senior Verde to talk about everything that he knows.
What do you think about Senior Verde?
Who?
Are we on?
We're on, dude.
So yeah, this is my my amazing girlfriend got this for me for Christmas. Maybe my favorite Christmas present. It was a Game of Thrones. I guess you can use it as a coffee mug or a wine glass. I use it for both.
Right on. Right on. Trying to look at the camera every now and then. You're like making love to the camera. I just have to look every now and then. I just have to look at it every now and then to get a screenshot. Like, you know.
No, you have to know where the camera is so you can work it.
Work it.
That's right. So
one of those days I can tell already. What are we talking about today?
So I got a rant. So
Okay,
my girlfriend and I went
away.
to go see Aladdin, the new one with Will Smith, you
yeah.
know. And so I'm just going to talk to camera because I'm going to talk to America here. This thing right here, yes, that's my beautiful girlfriend, but it's a cell phone.
We need to blur that out.
It's a cell phone. Why would you blur her out? She's so pretty.
Well, just
So
protect privacy.
no, she's good.
Okay.
So anyway, this is a cell phone. If you're in a movie, don't use it. If you have a child who can't sit through a movie and you have to give them a cell phone, stay home. Just stay home. Stay home.
I guess somebody had a bad experience at the theater.
Yeah, so we're on the back row, and there's a couple in front of us that brings their, I don't even think he's like 2-year-old yet. And they just immediately hand him the phone. It's like, one, it's Stimulus Tuesday, so it's like $5 to get in for a ticket.
Right.
You've saved money on the ticket. You might as well just get a babysitter,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Or just wait till it hits Netflix or Disney Plus's new streaming
Don't
service.
ruin my movie is what you're saying.
Yes. Like,
With
I don't
your
want to see all this in that ear.
Kid flashing the iPhone in my face.
I almost went and told the manager that the kid kept hitting the camera button. It was like a piracy issue.
Oh.
Could have shut them down.
Yeah. He probably was.
Could have been. And then there's other people who like had their phone out, which I can understand if you have, you know, an impairment where you need to see your phone's ringing. But if that's the case, if you have to see if your phone is going to flash.
Oh, and it flashes.
Let's hide it.
It flashes.
Yeah, or
it's
put
like
it in your
the
lap.
accessibility.
Right,
You can't
yeah.
hear that, so it flashes. And
Yeah.
so they had their phone flashing during the movie.
Right. And
Who are these people?
Well, I mean, one, I don't want to. First, I want to say I'm not upset if someone has to use that for a disability or whatnot. I understand that, but you just had phones going off like crazy. People, put your phones away and enjoy the quality entertainment that these people are putting out in front of us. Have you ever seen the credits at the end of a movie? Do you know how many people worked on that movie? Do you know how many people probably went home after the day of shooting? Probably not many. It's a hard job. Put your phone away for 2 hours and enjoy their work.
There you go.
All right, it's been our podcast. Have a good night.
Yeah, see you. Wow. Yeah, so I've had to deal with some of that in the past. And I've probably been that guy in the past too, the nature of what we do. But, you know, it's never fun. You never want, I mean, having a kid there that needs to watch another screen while there's a huge screen in front of him, yeah, that's probably one that should be left home if possible.
And it's Aladdin. Like, it's already
it's
like a kid's movie.
Yeah. Not really a cartoon, but
No.
yeah. So, but I get it. We all have those challenges. But I mean, I've had to get up and leave a movie with a little one. I didn't get to see it, because he or she wouldn't cooperate, and so it was unfortunate that I had to get up and walk out. But it wasn't good for me to stay there and ruin everybody else's time either. So
Yeah.
I can relate.
Nice
rant.
So we left.
Did you really?
We left. Yeah, we left. 30 minutes into it.
Did you ask for your money back?
We did.
Did you get it?
Did.
Excellent.
Yes.
What a great theater that was.
I'm really great with customer service experiences.
Nice.
Yeah. So
You got quality skills for chit-chatting it
that's
up.
right. Yeah.
Nice. Well,
So
great way to start.
absolutely. So I'm week week 1 or week 2 into my layoff period, my transition period.
3, right?
No, because they actually paid me for the first week because technically my last day was the 24th, but I finished early and they went ahead and just paid me.
Right, I forgot about that.
So, actually, I woke up at 4:30 this morning going, man, I'm ready to get going.
That's sweet.
So it's like the passion is there. And, I saw you recently had a tweet and it was shared on multiple platforms about passion. Like you should give yourself permission to explore your passion.
Give yourself the gift of exploring your passion. The gift of exploring your passion. Yeah, so that was it. Yeah.
Cool. And one thing I'm kind of looking at is I'm taking that gift, but I'm also giving myself another gift, and that's the permission to take the risk if I might fail.
Ooh, I like that one.
Can I
tweet that later?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
And so, I think you have to give yourself permission to fail. I mean, that's what I teach people in improv. Mm-hmm. You go on stage, you fail, you learn from it. I think Tina Fey actually is quoted with saying that.
Interesting.
Quote. So, just if you wanted to tag her, she would probably appreciate it.
You've given yourself permission to chase your passion.
Yes.
Or the gift of chasing your passion. And your passion is, tell me what's going on with that.
Well, so I think I have several different endeavors. Mm-hmm. Did I say it right that time?
You did.
Yes. Yeah. If you don't learn anything from this podcast, you now know how to say endeavor. So once I found out I got laid off, I immediately called my agent. I have an agent who Dallas is a very big commercial market. So a lot of commercials are filmed in Dallas. And
commercials,
like TV spots.
Because it's a really huge market for commercial real estate as well.
Absolutely.
Second in the nation, only to New York City, but we're coming after you.
That's right. And so, I don't know why I looked at your camera.
I don't know either, but that was funny.
That's right.
Anyway.
So, I called her up and I was like, hey, I'm now available. Let's go ahead and do some auditions because I hadn't been able to go up to Dallas in a while.
Yeah.
And
due to your work.
Right. And so now I have freedom to do that. And I know that my next career path is going to be flexible, not just stuck behind a desk 8 to 5. I want to be able to make, important meetings I need to make, but also be able to bring in money, which is why I'm also working on real estate. We'll get to that. Yeah. So anyway, she actually gets me an audition. It's with Sinclair Oil. It's in Dallas. I go there. It's for a well-known casting agent that's in the Dallas area.
Cool.
She actually cast for Little Rascals, the movie.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that movie, by the way.
It's good, yeah. Alfalfa, Spanky, and I think 2 of the others came out of the Dallas casting call.
Nice.
So went and I thought I just blew my audition. Because the product's called Dino Care, and I'm basically the line that I was supposed to read was, Dino Care, I guess it takes care, that's an important word, of all those things. Okay, so I go in there and my line is, Dino Care, I guess it fixes all those things.
You say that?
Completely did not say care at all. And so I drive back. I mean, I drove to Dallas. I'm in there for 15 minutes, and then I drive back to Tyler beating myself up the entire time over one word. Over a synonym.
That's nice.
Even though it was an important synonym.
That's nice.
So I was really beating myself up about it. I was like, okay, well, this is the good thing. It's a speaking role, and then there's some other roles that aren't speaking, but they're only $100 difference per day.
Gotcha.
And this is close to like a week worth of work that I would have made, at a desk job.
Yeah.
And so, and there's also, I said I was available to put on a mascot costume and run around for just a couple $100. So I was like, okay, maybe they'll want me for one of those. So I actually got a call back. So they brought me back in for another chance at it.
Cool.
And they paired me with, it was kind of a mom and dad driving a little girl around. She's having this vivid imagination. The parents are just in their own adult world, not listening to the daughter at all.
Okay.
So they had us paired with like someone to play the mom, someone to play the daughter. And I go in, the director for the commercial is in there this time. We really hit it off. They started asking the daughter questions about, hey, what do you like to do for fun? She's like, I like gymnastics. And then so the girl playing the mom like kind of upstages her and is like, oh, of course, I take you to gymnastics all the time. And I'm like, I said, no, I taught her how to cartwheel. And they're like, listen, if you can do a cartwheel right now, you get the gig. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm a bull in a china cabinet. I will break all your equipment and no one else will have a shot.
And they were like,
yeah, they were like, yeah, that's awesome. And then, so they were like, so what do you like to do for fun? I'm like, improv comedy. And, we're just kind of talking about that. And So I left the callback audition just feeling like I really killed it. I nailed the line this time and said care.
Yeah.
And so I got a call from my agent yesterday about 5 p.m. and said, you booked it. And
Nice.
it's not the speaking role. And I will be playing a gas station attendant because it's a gas station commercial.
Sure.
But she goes, you really impressed the casting director. She was like, this guy is so adorable. We just loved him.
Nice.
And so she said that they're wanting to cast me for all these projects that are coming up.
Sweet, man.
So my agent told me it's going to be a busy summer.
That's great, dude.
Yeah.
That is completely...
That's awesome. Yeah.
Like unbelievable because
Yeah.
had you not got laid off...
Exactly. And what's really crazy is
So someone else forced your hand to pursue your dreams.
Even bigger. We're going to go a little bigger.
We're going deeper.
So
Awesome.
about a month ago,
excited
for
about
those
this.
of you who are religious or believe in a higher being or a positive karma, I was saying a prayer that I was wanting God to align my passions and talents with His purpose. A month before I get laid off, boom, laid off, got a commercial booked.
Nice.
So I'm like, awesome.
So it's like, well, I didn't know I was going to have to get laid off, but I like the gig. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one avenue I'm going. Also had a good meeting with a fellow in town who does a lot of corporate leadership talks, goes to companies, does lunch and learns, does keynotes.
Cool.
Talked to him and told him kind of what I was wanting to do as far as improv goes. And he's interested in seeing an improv workshop done on a corporate level for like a 75-minute lunch and learn.
Oh, cool.
Interested in taking me along and showing me that and working on real estate.
It's awesome.
So, and I have a meeting with a guy next week to talk about my screenplay who used to be a producer. And yeah.
See?
So I'm just hustling and I'm passionate and
So the initial shock of the moment of being laid off, then there's the grieving about it, then there's the empathetic towards yourself. I feel so bad that this happened to me, and the thing to remember is that all that stuff passed. Like,
right.
The initial brunt, then the working through it, and then the pulling yourself up by the bootstraps and being conscious of your situation, and then being 110% proactive to reach out to all those other people to kind of feel everything out. And I think you've turned an amazing corner, and it all came out of someone else's, action.
Right.
So,
I think I was forced a little bit to get out of my comfort zone, but now I'm out of my comfort zone and it feels even better.
but you were absolutely forced. So what we're
Right.
dealing with here is a lot of people listening aren't forced. They're not being laid off, yet they're still stuck in that position you were a few weeks back,
comfortable.
a couple of months. Well, it's not really comfortable because there's no growth and it's kind of stale. It's just like this. I call it like the imprisonment of normalcy,
Right.
right? But you're handcuffed, you're chained, you're tied to that, and you can't muster up enough out of your wanting to stay comfortable by, I don't have enough money to quit yet, so as soon as I do, I'll quit and I'll chase my dreams. So they're trying to pad that experience instead of just taking it all right in the face and then moving forward, being forced to move forward. So you're actually, like, they did you a great service
Absolutely.
because you've been toying with all this in your head for over a year,
Right.
right? And you couldn't get to a place, even after paying off the car, even after almost tackling all your credit card debt, you couldn't even get to a place to where you were like, I'm ready to launch, tell them goodbye, because that's a really scary place to be. It's this super unknown.
Absolutely.
And that is hard for a lot of people. It's hard for most people. So what happened to you was those external circumstances came in, collapsed your world, and you had to reinvent. But because you'd been thinking about it so often and so much and had these other opportunities that you were going to launch and pursue, you just activated them. After a few days of, like I said, feeling sorry for yourself and the impact of the experience, and so you were able to go. And a lot of people are locked in to a situation they can't or feel like they don't have an opportunity to get out of. But if their employer were to come to them today, they might have as much fervor and excitement and opportunity as you do if they were to be laid off. And so I want people to kind of flip that switch in your brain. Worst case scenario, I get laid off. I lose my job. What do I do next, right? For most, it's find another job. I mean, I think you had a pretty good situation on the exit part of that.
Absolutely.
With some extended pay and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, when there's a layoff, that's often the case for some. And I just think that if we would just balance out worst case scenario, own worst case scenario, and be like, oh, well, worst case scenario is not really that bad. I mean, I'm still breathing, living. I can feed myself, or I can do whatever. So I think it's just that fear of the unknown that holds people back so often. And in your case, the unknown jumped all over you, and you just had to adapt and move on. And so you did that.
Well, and I think I'm being proactive too for the next unknown, because I don't know what's going to happen after, August. And so,
yeah,
but I'm already setting myself up for that because, one, I'm working with local community theater about doing a 6-week improv class, where it's once a week.
Right.
And that'll be some supplemental income. That's one day a week.
Yeah.
Easy.
So you're creating all these little funnels that can create some sort of income that will allow you the opportunity to continue to chase. Your creativity is going through the roof because you're focused, and you're intensely focused because of your situation. You're not distracted by a job, and you're not distracted by all these other things. I think that there's a distraction, and that 40 hours a week that you have, that's your obligation for your job. But outside of that, there's a distraction of the employment position, meaning that when you're employed, that thing, and I'm not telling anybody to go quit your job. Please hear what I'm saying. That thing that you're obligated to for 40 hours a week not only absorbs 40 hours of your week, but it's a complete roadblock for some.
And some people will drain.
It's a drain, and it's a roadblock.
Right.
It doesn't allow you to think beyond the next step. And so when it's stripped away from you in a situation like you experienced, you're forced to think about it, and it gives you this immense amount of time that you didn't have before because it's the 40 hours. Plus, it's all the roadblocks are removed because it's no longer there, top of mind, and so the creativeness starts to flow. And I'm speaking to some people and to you, meaning that this isn't for everybody. Some people that get laid off need to go back and find a job next week, but for the people that are feeling the way you felt the last year, maybe plus, or even the last 6 months or 2 years, or for some it's longer than that. If that's the way you're feeling, then you got to do something about it.
Yeah, I think
you're just slowly decaying and dying inside. And
it's almost like you're letting your safety choke the life out of your passion.
Yeah, comfort, passion. One's going to win that battle,
Right.
And for some, once your passion becomes your comfort, and I really think once you pursue it 100% and you get to a place of happiness and wholeness that we've discussed before, I think that all those other things lose their value.
Right.
All the cars and all that kind of stuff, the fancy things, I think they lose their value because the passion becomes the value that's bringing you every day by experiencing it. And there's a lot of talk going on right now in social media and really just around everything that's motivational in nature. And there are some people actually speaking out against chasing your passions. Like, not everybody should chase your passions. Well, there are some people that aren't very passionate. That's probably true.
Right.
And if you're passionate about the wrong things, we've discussed that before.
Right.
That's an error. You have to have clarity. You have to think through. You have to plan. You have to execute. And it just doesn't happen overnight. But
yeah, absolutely.
For those people that are in your situation and aren't being laid off, they need some self-imposed emergency situation to push them forward, to propel their dreams and that kind of stuff. And so that's just hopefully listening to things like this and maybe going out and doing some proactive stuff. I mean, you just rattled off like 5 things that you're into.
Right.
That each one of those could produce a little bit of income and naturally replace the income that you lost, and you've only been out of work a couple of weeks.
I mean, heck, I started thinking about, because we've been talking about, me doing real estate before we even did this podcast, and I had signed up for the classes back in September.
It's been over a year since we first talked about real estate. It was April of 18.
Was it April of 18?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I signed up for my classes. Yeah, it was. I signed up for my classes in September. And so, I did one unit. And for whatever reason, I thought that one unit that I did the entire class for the first class. So
It's just one piece.
it was just
of
one piece of it. It's
Yeah.
like it was like chapter 1.
Yeah.
And so
That's funny. I finished the quiz. That was easy.
yeah. And so, but I started really thinking about that, and I was like, wait, I mean, the average commission, let's say ballpark average commission someone might make off of selling an average, say, $300,000 house.
Dude, it's all over the place.
It could be, right. But I mean, I'm guessing it's probably in the $5 to $7 grand, possibly.
It just depends. I mean, it really does. Depends. There's so many different criteria that go into it, but it's a few $1,000 one way or another. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I started really thinking about that. I was like, well, if I sell, 1 or 2 houses, that's about the equivalent of what my severance has been for this next 12 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that bare minimum. I'm going to be hustling to get
Right.
more than that.
Right.
But I was like, heck, there's more income,
Well, with what you're doing, with your personality type, and what the opportunities that most would go out there and drum up inside the real estate space, inside that industry, there's no doubt that you could do very little work in the real estate world and replace the income that you just lost.
Right.
Like if you just flatlined it, like here's where I was, here's where I go. That's going to be really, like, you could play around with it and do that.
Which my goal is I want to double it, if not,
And that's completely doable.
and so make it where I'm
But it is a
making-
ton of hard work.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's a ton of BS.
I'm good at
it's
that.
Yeah, you are. But it really is. It's a lot of work. There's tons of learning curves. There's a lot of details to it. And then it'll ebb and flow. You'll have your slow months, the winter time usually, and you'll have your heavy months, which is spring and summer.
But the great thing is, there is going to be slow months, but that's why I have side hustle.
Yeah.
And
Plus, you're going to be budgeting and working your
Right.
finances and all those kinds of things
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
So yeah, it's going to play out. Well, I think that's exciting, dude. I mean, the fact that that you're doing a commercial, man, that's freaking cool.
Yeah.
Once it's done and it's like public, we're gonna have to do a clip of that,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll
I'll
have to
find
do
out
it.
if we can get permission to use that. But yeah,
dude. Once
absolutely.
it's up on whatever thing they're putting it on, surely it's like for public, right? It's not like intercompany use.
Well, I mean, we could probably like share it like on a page or something.
no, I mean, like, aren't they gonna put it on TV?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, then we can just record it from the television. Yeah, like we can. It'll be public domain at that point. Like,
Oh, there's lawsuits against that.
no, not just to show a clip, like you smiling for 2 seconds.
There's lawsuits against that.
Dude, I'm gonna pull it up right. I'm gonna pull a commercial right now and play it on this camera. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm not sweating it. We'll do something with it. We'll figure out a way to just maybe a screenshot of you.
I can probably like have it in my demo. We can show my demo.
There you
Boom.
go. Yeah, there you go.
So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. So what else?
But yeah, so I mean, that's kind of everything that's going on in my world. It's just time to like hustle, and my girlfriend's about to go on vacation for about 10 to 12 days. So it's going to be, just going to put my head down and try and get through these courses as fast as I can.
That'd be great.
It's let's see, I went through, well, I did 2 units in Principles 2, thinking I was done with Principles 1. And then I had to basically go back and do all of Principles 1. So I have 1 more unit to do and then take the final exam for Principles 1, and then I can move on to the next class. So there's 6 total. So
And you guys have another show coming up here pretty soon.
we do,
right?
yeah. June the 22nd and then July the 20th.
Wow.
So we have 2 coming up, and we had a break in May. So usually we have a pretty good turnout for that.
Summertime. The one that you're doing in June, this month, June 22nd, that's actually my wedding anniversary day.
Oh,
I got married on June 22nd.
do you have plans?
2001. Probably.
I was about to like hook you up.
You're going to invite me.
Yeah.
Bring me up on stage and embarrass the crap out of me.
No, I don't. I actually don't. I don't pick on people I know at a show.
Oh, really?
It could like bite me in the butt,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no. I mean, I could, but it would be a really romantic evening. You could eat at Jack Ryan's downtown, and
Yeah.
walk.
I'm not even sure we're going to be in town. But because I think the last couple you've had, we've been out of town.
Yeah, you always find an excuse.
I know. Yeah. I'm like, hey, their next show is on this date. Can you book something for me? Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, when's our excuses podcast?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Do we have one? Haven't we done one? Yeah, we need
we
one.
have.
No More Excuses, I think, was one. Yeah. Well, man, it's great. I'm super pumped to hear all the positive vibes coming from you. The storyline continues. I think there's so much good stuff coming out of this. not only for you, but for me and the audience at large. And I mean, we'll hit it again next week or in the next episode, whenever that might be. And I'm looking forward to hearing more good stuff. So thanks everybody for listening, and thank you, sir, for doing what you do.
I do what I can with what I got to do.
Thanks everybody. Have a great one.